Friday, we asked you who will be playing in the Super Bowl. The winner there was Ravens-Niners. Mm-hmm. That's what everybody thought.
Yeah.
38%. Second was Lions-Ravens, 29%. Only 19% had Niners-Chiefs. And then Lions-Chiefs was 14%.
Well, me, like a lot of people, foolishly thought that this version of Kansas City was the worst version we've seen. And Baltimore all year had been hunters of men and just looked like, hands down, the most dominant team. And someone forgot to tell Kansas City that, and Baltimore didn't show up. The Detroit one, it's interesting because the Detroit one is a collapse in its own right. I mean, to lose that game if you're Detroit, like you can't. It's almost impossible to lose that game. Like the amount of things, because everyone's going to talk about Dan Campbell, and we'll get into it, but I can point to 9 plays, that if any one of those plays is made, Detroit wins that game.
I've got 4 off the top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, it is a absolute perfect storm of ineptitude and choke jobs.
Well, if you're going to blow a lead like that, you have to help.
Yes.
Yes.
Like
you have to, if the Niners were going to come back and win, the Lions had to help them.
And they did at every turn.
Yeah.
Not a single, in the second half, not a single coach, offense or defensive player made a single play in that entire second half. You know that after playing damn near a perfect first half, I mean, it's inconceivable.
Well, they are the Lions.
That happened. I understand, but it's just, I'm still trying to process what happened. Now, on the other side of things, I outside of Minnesota that year, that Minnesota, I think, was 14-2 or 13-3. And that Minnesota team, which I think outside of maybe that undefeated Patriots, it's the best team that I've ever seen not win a Super Bowl. And they lost to the Atlanta Falcons. And Gary Anderson hadn't missed a kick all year.
Chris Chandler.
And that to this day is still the most puzzling game I've ever seen. I think second behind that is probably the Ravens. To come out in the first half and just no show on defense. And then the defense basically come out in the second half and completely shut down everything Kansas City was doing, and still have your offense with an MVP and the number 1 rush game in the NFL. The number 1 rush game, who, by the way, took their second possession and rammed it right down their throats. And then the rest of the way, they ran the ball with their running back 6 times. 6 times. And I think Lamar only had 2 or 3 dedicated rushes. I've never seen anything like it. It's the number 28 rush defense in the NFL in Kansas City, but it's one of the best. I think it's top 3 against the pass. And you have a team that is the number 1 rush offense and doesn't throw the ball particularly well. And you decided after the second drive that you ran the ball down their throat, including Lamar on a designed quarterback run on the 4th and short. You just decided after that you were going to run the ball 3 more times the rest of the game. I know we sit here and we say that officials need to be be allowed to be interviewed after the game. I want coordinators. I need Todd Monken to sit down and explain to me what the hell was going on with that.
What Harbaugh say? I had a hard time finding his post game.
It's beyond. There's not an answer for it. He just kept saying, well, what we thought was a good look and, what Kansas City was doing.
Well, there is an answer.
What?
There's only one answer.
Statistically, it was way off. I guess during the entire season, they ran the ball on first down like 49% of the time and dropped it to 26%. This time, they totally went away from their identity.
69% in the first half on first and second down, they threw the ball. Well, what?
What?
Well, I don't.
Are you guys are missing there's one answer.
And that is?
The NFL is fixed.
It has to be. It has to be. What did they tell the Ravens?
Harbaugh looked so dejected the whole game. It's like he read the script.
Well, and like Lamar.
That's what it is.
Lamar's the best athlete I've seen play that position since Michael Vick. And you can make the argument that he's the best athlete to ever play that. Even on the one where Lamar broke through on the second touchdown drive. Do you remember that? He had an angle and he stopped. He just, I don't know if he was concerned about being hurt. I don't know if he had something going on. But the entire game, not only did he look unsure of himself throwing the football, he looked unsure running. Like, he had a corner. Lamar Jackson doesn't get run down, and he stopped and kind of cut back in and then just fell down.
What point of the game was that?
It was the second drive where they went down and scored their only touchdown, right? It was in the first quarter. I think it was their second drive. It was either, I think it was like 4th and 1 or 3rd and 2, whatever. And they ran, I think it was 4th down, and they ran a little power game with Lamar. It was dedicated quarterback run.
I don't remember.
And he breaks through the first line, and I'm like, this is to the house. It's now, they scored anyways, but I'm just saying, like, he took off and then he got the angle and he just stopped.
Well,
and all game long when he was running and when he was scrambling, he looked hesitant. He didn't know what he was doing. For a 2-time MVP, and I try to defend Lamar because I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism. And we crap on him a lot. But that's a 2-time MVP with a horrible track record in the postseason. And we thought maybe he'd put that to bed in the second half against the Texans. But that whole performance that he had with his legs, with his feet, with his decision-making, I don't know what to say other than that is a absolute choke job by that.
Well, I mean,
that entire offense and him as well.
I get the game plan thing. But I mean, I think sometimes the champs like Kansas City, they make you unlike yourself.
But
they get up in your kitchen.
I understand, but this is my
why
thing.
They're good.
I get it. If you Kansas City is a run first team. Everyone wants to say Mahomes.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the game plan. I'm talking about just Lamar.
But that's what I'm saying. Just in general, like, I get it. Like Kansas City didn't run the ball. Kansas City ran the ball for less than three carries. Or 3 yards per carry, but they ran it 32 times. So I get if you're saying, hey, man, we're running, and the other team is making us uncomfortable, and then we kind of panic. Baltimore never tried. Like, it's inconceivable to me.
No, I get that part. I was just saying with Lamar, like that one is inexcusable. I don't really understand what they were doing. Everybody was saying that, right?
Yeah.
We're watching that game. We're like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Even late into the fourth quarter, they still had the opportunity to kind of change that and just slow down.
Yeah.
Because Kansas City's defense seemed gassed. They had already lost Minihue and Gay was out. It's like, you are kind of – I mean, they had opportunities all the way to the very end that they squandered. So that part I can't explain away. That one is inconceivable. I'm just talking about – you were talking about Lamar choking. I mean, I don't think that's a choke. I just give credit to – a great football team, and they are great. That's what the great teams do to even MVP level players is they are up in your kitchen. They make you think. They make you hesitant.
Yeah.
And he was unsure the whole game. And I just think you got to give Steve Spagnuolo and Kansas City's defense the credit for that. I don't look at that as just a choke. I mean, we expected him to play better, but maybe shame on us. Kansas City is just freaking they're the champs for a reason.
Yeah.
We're looking at a dynasty here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what they can do to you.
And I'm not trying to take away credit from Kansas City because, again, their defense has been great all year. But if you told me before that game that Baltimore holds them to 17 points or just says shuts out Kansas City in the second half, I mean, I just there's no way that Kansas City wins that game, and yet they win very comfortably. I just have never in my life seen a team that has been so dominant doing one thing and then never do it.
That I get.
That's the part that I just
that.
So on their touchdown drive, the only touchdown drive they had, right? They still came out on first down and tried to throw with Lamar Jackson, which I don't understand. And then they threw again, can't figure out what they're doing. And then they actually ran the ball and they just started shoving it down their throat. And, Gus Edwards broke off that 15-yard run. They go in, they score a touchdown on the Zay Flowers, which is the nice touchdown pass. And then they didn't attempt to run the ball again after that. They just stopped. I know. And it's like going into a boxing match or an MMA match, whatever, and you're like, hey, this guy's got the best jab in the world. Everything he does is set up off of the jab, right? Like it's everything he does. The left hook comes off of it, the uppercut, all of it comes out after the jab. And he comes out in the first round and he has a lot of success with his jab. And you're like, all right. And then the rest of the fight, he's like, nah, I don't want to do it. And for people saying that Kansas City Kansas City was not running 8-man fronts. They just weren't. They just never ran the ball. As Buck alluded to, 69% on first and second downs. That's like the anti-Baltimore Ravens. when you look at teams that have success, and Detroit does this, you saw it in the Niner game, you saw it in the second half against the Lions when the Niners did it. The Packers have done this, the Ravens do it. So much of the NFL is predicated on early play action. Like if you want to throw the ball even, you still have to do it off of play action on those early downs. And Kansas City, I just at some point was like, hey, these idiots aren't going to run the ball against us, and good luck getting your guys free against our secondary, which is one of the best in the league. And then, by the time Baltimore had figured out Kansas City's offense, and they did, Baltimore's defense played great in the second half. I mean, they shut down Kansas City completely. And by then, you just kept waiting for the offense to figure it out, and they just kept having stupid penalties and turnovers. And
well, the other thing too is, you can't turn it over twice in the end zone.
No.
I mean, that's it right there. I mean, they might win the game if they don't do just those two plays right there.
8 penalties, 4 of them personal fouls, 2 turnovers into the end zone. You're not
it felt like the moment was a little too big for them.
Agreed. And Kansas City's hand never shakes. I mean, they're a different animal.